and share what I'm making for supper tonight. It has been a long day. We are tired. We are hungry. So looking for a dish that is very quick to put together. This is one of my favorites. It is so easy, and I frequently have a lot of the ingredients already on hand. So we're going to do a sausage bow tie asparagus dish. And so I have my bow tie pasta already cooking here in our Brilliance saucepan. And so it's got about 7 or 8 minutes left to boil. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get our asparagus cut up and prepped to go in. We're going to add that into our pasta when it's got just a few minutes left, so we can cook both at one time, and it kind of makes it easier and faster. So I've got our asparagus already washed here. So we're just going to kind of rough chop the ends off, and then we're going to just kind of cut in a few different pieces. I want to put those in our trash so we don't get those mixed into our pasta. The ends are usually pretty woody, so they're a little bit tougher to chew. I don't really like those. I normally cut them off and discard them. So I'm just using one of our coated knives, and these are actually very, very nice, especially considering the price. The most expensive knife, I think, is $22. They're very, very sharp. They can go in the dishwasher, which I love. That is a big selling factor in my house for sure. We rely on our dishwasher a lot. Okay, we've about got these ready to go in. And I'm using one of our flexible cutting mats, and I'll show you how nice that is. Okay, so we've got about 5 minutes left. I have our silicone helper handle here. The tops of the lids seem to get a little bit hot, especially if you're boiling something that's been on the stove for a while. So they just actually slide off and clip right on. They're very nice to have. They go in the dishwasher, so if you spill something on them, not to worry, very easy to clean up. Okay, that is looking pretty good there. Check on our sausage here. Want to get our sausage kind of started. And I'm just using a pound of ground Italian sausage. You could use hamburger if you prefer. I like the Italian sausage because it's already got a little bit of seasoning in it. So that's going to give our pasta dish a nice flavor. And I'm using our mix and chop spatula. It's very similar to our original mix and chop, but they restyled it probably a year and a half or so ago. So you can actually scoop. So like when you're doing tacos or something like that, you can actually scoop the meat up, which is a little bit nicer. It does the same exact thing. I tend to prefer this one when I'm using it with meat. It doesn't have all of the little crevices like the other one has, and so it's much easier to clean. On the other mix and chop, that meat seems to get hung up in those little crevices, which makes it a little bit more difficult to clean. It doesn't always come out clean in the dishwasher, at least mine doesn't. So I kind of usually go to this one when I'm using it for meat. I think we're going to turn that heat up just a little bit to make sure we get, actually I'm going to use my pasta tool. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get our asparagus added. So I'll show you our flexible cutting mat. I love this for this reason. So you just pick up what you've prepped, and you just, it just flexes and you pour it right in, which is fantastic. Also dishwasher safe. I think we're finished with that one. The larger ones may not fit in everyone's dishwasher. It depends on how you're set up. If you have 3 racks, it probably is too tall to go in the bottom rack. I know that mine is. We do have a smaller set that is just a little bit smaller than these mats, and it does fit in the dishwasher on the bottom rack. So you can always go with that size if you prefer dishwasher. All right. So while we've got those kind of cooking here. We're going to add onion and garlic to our sausage. So I'm going to go ahead and show you our wonderful food chopper, and we'll work on that for our onion. So again, using the coated knife, we're just going to take the ends off, and we'll peel that outer layer. Maybe we will. Yep. Right off. I hear our sausage getting started now. Took a little bit. Okay. All right. So for the food chopper, I'm just going to cut this in a couple of pieces here. And with the food chopper, you can actually chop inside the lid if you like to do that. I really like to do that with nuts, and then it's all in one area, and you can just open it and pour it right into your dish. I'm not going to do that with this. I'm just going to use our flexible cutting mat. And again, the more times you chop, the finer your onions are going to be. So look at that. I mean, that's perfect. And we'll go ahead and get the second half ready. This is also a great way to take out your frustrations after a long day. You can just chop the heck out of that onion. I know sometimes I need that. I don't know about you guys, but there are some days, right? Okay. We got our sausage looking pretty good here now. Just took a little bit to get it started. If you're using ground beef, you might want to add some of your favorite seasonings. You could do oregano or just an Italian seasoning, just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. I always buy Italian sausage. I buy it in the casing, and I buy it just loose. We use it in a lot. I actually use it in lasagna too, instead of ground beef, just because, like I said, it already has that extra seasoning, that flavor in there. I think it just makes the dish more flavorful. But if you have a lot of ground beef, a lot of my friends have cattle, and so they end up with a lot of ground beef. So this is a great way to use some of that, and you can season it up however you like it then. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and get our onion added. And again, same exact thing. We're going to use the flexible cutting mat and add it right in there. And I'm going to be a little more careful because I've got a few onion peels that I don't want to get added to our dish. Okay, perfect. All right, so we got our onion. I smell our asparagus is starting to cook a little bit. You can use more or less onion. I used one whole small onion. We really like it, so I went ahead and used the whole thing. You could use half if you preferred half, or honestly, you could leave it out if you don't care for it. Okay, so this recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to use 3. I like garlic, so and when you have the garlic press, it's very easy to cook with garlic because there's not a lot you need to do. You literally just, I may have shown you this before, but I want to give everybody a reminder. So it has a little cleaning brush here at the bottom that just snaps in. So it also has little teeth on it. So if you have pieces that get caught, you can just push that into the bottom as you're cleaning it. And if I can get it in there, and it'll push those pieces right out. So all you have to do is add your clove of garlic and squeeze. And that is it. You don't have to peel it or anything, which is fantastic. And then again, use the brush. Turn it this way so you can see. And your garlic is in. I'm going to go ahead and take this shell out. You don't really have to. I just feel like it works a little better if you do. We'll get our second one. It really smells good. And again, scrape off any extra that you have there that doesn't shoot right out. And the last one. I did 2 fairly large ones and a small one. I like that this will do larger cloves too. Makes it super easy. Okay. This is coming along really nicely. I'm going to give it another little stir. And this is our Brilliance 5-quart skillet. So I love it for dishes just like this where you're adding pasta or something else too. It's very deep, so if you're making a homemade sauce or something like that, it just works really well. You don't have to worry about splashing things out. The Brilliance collection is a very non-stick finish. So even if you do cook something down over the side, I mean, it really just washes right off. It is a fantastic, it's one of our newer cookware lines, and I can't say enough nice things about it. This skillet, it has a couple of smaller skillets, and then this pot and a smaller one, and then it has an 8-quart stock pot as well. So all very, very nice. And I think these are finished up here. The asparagus is a nice green color. I think our bow ties are finished. So I'm going to go ahead and get ready to drain that. I'm going to reserve some of our pasta water before we drain, just because I like to be able to mix that into our dish as we're finishing it off. It makes it nice and creamy. And the nice thing about the Brilliance, these lids have holes on them, so you can actually strain in the same pot. You don't have to dirty another dish, which I think is actually brilliant. Brilliant, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get this drained, and we're going to be adding it to our sausage and onion mixture, which looks like it is pretty close to being finished. What a fast, delicious dinner. Great for weeknights. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this drained. All right. Now I am using asparagus in this dish. If you don't care for asparagus, I think you could use green beans or probably even zucchini. I would be careful. I probably would not add zucchini to the pasta while you're cooking. I think it would probably get a little too mushy, but I think you could add it to your sausage mixture just a few minutes before you added your pasta noodles in. And I think that would probably be really good. We love asparagus, so any chance that I can use it, I do. It's very delicious and well liked in our household. Okay, that is looking fantastic. So I think we're ready to go ahead and add our pasta, and not left-handed. but I want you to be able to see how pretty this is. There. And look at that. The pasta is not sticking one bit in this saucepan, which is fantastic. I say that, and there was one sticking. The Brilliance collection is just amazing. I'm going to get this heat turned down a little bit. Wow, this looks awesome. And really, we have supper in, what, 15 minutes? You can't beat that. So as we're finishing it off here, I'm going to add some grated Parmesan cheese. And you could use any type of cheese. If you wanted to add some cheese to it, you could probably add some red pepper flakes if you wanted to give it a little bit more spice. I'm not even sure we need any pasta water. I may add just a little bit. That way when we have leftovers, it will store a little bit nicer. Yeah, that actually does help a little bit. Yeah, that actually is better. But yeah, this is looking really good. And get the rest of our cheese added. And then, of course, when you serve it, I would definitely recommend topping it with cheese because, in my opinion, you can never have too much cheese. And check it out. Is that not amazing? I think it's going to taste great and super fast. So, cannot complain about that, right? Thank you guys so much for joining. Have a wonderful